You are listening to Power Stance Gamers Podcast, the best place for quality tabletop banter. With your hosts, Jacob, Greg, and Muddy.
G'day everyone, Jacob Corner here from Power Stance Gaming.
He's such a competitive motherfucker.
Don't do it. I'm saying, here we go.
I knew you were going to chime in.
Still haven't put down the sabers from last week. They're rattling hard at the table here, I tell you. They are rattling. Look, before we go any further, let me welcome the two combatants today, Mr. David Muddyman.
In the blue corner.
And Mr. Greg Millsop.
Morning, listeners.
Alrighty, what's got us so worked up? Well, last week, of course, we had the big discussion, beer and pretzels versus competitive gaming.
Yep.
It got a little heated. I had to pull these two guys apart.
Mr. Fence Sitter.
Yeah. But, you know, that's my job as the host. It's what we do.
Is that what Switzerland do?
That's exactly what they do.
Yep.
Swiss.
Look at all my Nazi
And take
gold.
everyone's money.
Yep.
Look at my Nazi gold. Anyway. The thing that came out of it, and probably one of the reasons that we prompted that topic for the episode, is we are going to do something a little different today. It's not going to be our usual review episode. We're going to talk about...
We're dropping something.
We're dropping something.
Are we dropping it?
This is
Drop it like
this is
it's
a
hot.
first.
Drop it like it's hot.
This is a first.
It is a first. We
International first.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Possibly.
Clearly.
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing on the other side of the pond.
Unless the Russians have hacked us and it's
Fucking
already leaked
hell.
on WikiLeaks.
Fuck you. Julian Assange, you bastard.
But, Mr. Money, would you like to do the honours? What are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about Kings of Treachery.
Kings of Treachery.
Kings of Treachery.
Wow. And look, we've all had...
Can we just say that at normal speed for our listeners?
Kings of Treachery.
Kings of Treachery. All right.
And I suppose to give a bit of background here, I'll just chime in before Mr. Muddy gives us the full story. This is it's not an off-the-shelf product per se.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. It's a PDF. Heaven forbid. I know all the gasps. I can hear the gasps in everyone's cars or wherever you listen to our podcast. It is not off-the-shelf game. It's a PDF, and it's one that you two incredibly intelligent individuals have developed.
You forgot good looking. Carry on.
I think we're better looking than intelligent.
And bearded.
Well, that's
good
given.
looking.
Yeah.
And I guess to give you a bit of a rundown, folks, it's free, which is amazing. And it's based around the Kings of War game, and it's a multiplayer game.
It's a multiplayer.
And age-wise, anything from, 14 plus?
Well, you've got to be old enough to play and understand Kings of War, so...
Here we
And backstab people.
Yep. If you can pick up a crown, you're pretty good.
I'd agree with that.
So we won't cover the normal aesthetics and all that sort of jazz through this because essentially it's, like I said, it's PDF.
And it's our game.
And it is our game.
So doing a normal review of something we created.
It's pretty
And
basic.
Look, we could be getting into Fox News territory here with our levels of bias, I think.
And we can't give it a 5 dice number at the end of it because, again, it's our game.
Why not?
Well, I think, it's just a given.
This
it's
could be
five.
the one game that gets all of us a 5.
Well, okay, we'll reserve that to the end.
Okay.
So, Mr. Muddy,
Yep.
run us through it.
Okay, so Kings
What's
of
the
Treachery.
inception here?
What's the inception?
Oh, hang on. Is that harp music I hear playing in the background?
It was a cold and stormy night. My son was out on the fields, running around the field. My gorgeous wife was coming back home. She had a beef and gravy roll. It was a good night indeed. I sat there on that cold ground, thinking, how do I get my friends to play Kings of War, who'd abandon me for that damned infinity? As I finished the beef and gravy roll, a thought suddenly struck me like lightning. Kings of Treachery was born. I sat there and went through the cards, and I thought to myself, yes, surely this can do it. This can bring my friends back to the wargaming fantasy table. And with that struck of lightning, Kings of Treachery was born. There you go.
Wow.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Wow.
Wow.
That is an origin tale befitting of a Nordic hero, I feel. Or a Greek hero, of course.
A Greek hero.
Giving your credit.
Achilles! So yeah, that was the story.
So
Nice. So long story short,
Yep. Yeah, basically, long story short, I'm sitting at Deception Bay. It's freezing cold. I did have a roast beef and gravy roll. I ate that and I went, these dudes just won't play Kings of War with me. How am I going to get them to play Kings of War? And I remember the most fun we actually had as a collective back in the Warhammer days was literally playing their variant of the multiplayer game. And I thought, well, how do we get that into Kings of War and make it a little less stale? So it all basically, I literally was texting you guys with concepts that night from that cold bloody hill while my son was running around the oval, little athletics, and that's how it all started. Yeah.
awesome.
nice, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
The
those.
roast beef and gravy roll was really good too. She went back and got me a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I do remember those fateful text messages. Yeah.
So how long did it take you guys to, from that fateful, chilly Deception Bay night,
Yeah, it was cold.
and those text messages, to actually getting something in writing and taking that one step further?
It didn't really take all that long, did it? From that first couple of games, like it obviously it evolved.
I think it was probably you gave me a couple of sheets full of notes.
Yeah, mine was like quick notes, like
Yeah.
basic like skeletal framework of what was going in my head. Like, okay, these cards can work, and these ones could just like very basic mechanics. Oh, +1 to melee here, da 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 da. And that's
Okay,
all it
hang on.
really
I'll
was.
just stop you there. So, for the listeners who may not have played either Fantasy or even Kings of War and the multiplayer variant of Fantasy, explain to the listeners how it works, because it's not rocket science, but you do actually need to explain how it works,
Yeah.
because
I think probably before we even need to do that, we need to sort of discuss why we needed an extra incentive to get into Kings of War.
Yeah, Kings of War, we've discussed this before, is quite a balanced game. Now, how they've gotten it so balanced is in some ways led to other people's thoughts that it's quite dry. And the reason it's dry is because it doesn't have 7,000 layers of essentially special rules to gloss it up a little. Okay? Like thousands of spells, combos, yada yada yada. That's the trade-off. You don't have all these extra special rules and layers, which makes it feel dry. But by doing that, it's also very balanced.
The term I use when I talk is Kings of War, and
Yeah.
it comes across as negative, but I'm not necessarily meaning it in a negative way.
Yep.
Is that it's very sterile.
Yep.
Like it's just straight up and down.
Yep.
And look, if you are a competitive tournament player and you want that finely balanced game, so
yeah.
it comes down to a test of generalship.
Yep.
Then
It's a good system for
yeah,
that.
but so is chess.
Yes.
So
It is chess of the fantasy world.
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And look, Mantic have said it's a tournament system. It's a tournament game.
It was
So-
designed for
and
that.
it's
Absolutely,
great. It
yeah.
is great for it.
Yep.
I have to say, I tip my hat to them. It
Yep.
is brilliant. It ticks
Yeah.
the box.
But that's not enough for every person who's played a fantasy game to want to play it. You
Correct,
know,
yeah.
by just saying, "Oh, this is the most balanced thing you're ever going to play." That's great, but it needed for some people something else to make it a little bit more fun. And even I'm I agree with that. You know, to me, I think it needs a douse of bit of fun injected into it every now and then. So obviously, this was
Cool.
molded into to give it some of that.
Yep.
yeah.
So that helped. That I guess that was the driver to come up with the idea.
Yeah, well, the drive was to get you guys
Yeah,
to play it.
Yeah.
Realistically.
So okay, so run us through it. How do you play? You know, what's it all about? How do you play a game?
Well, how deep are we getting into this thing?
Oh, I think you got to touch the basics.
So the basic concept is...
So okay, how many players? So
All right.
ideally, it works with 4 players, doesn't it? 3 to 4, 5.
I like 4.
I like 5. I think it's optimum at your maximum. If it's 4, can still turn into 2 versus 2. And
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I see what you're saying
3
with that.
always turns into 2 versus 1.
Yep.
But 5 is that extra extra cog in there.
Yeah, the deployments get a little closer, and everyone's on top of each other just that little bit quicker as well.
And there's
You
no
can't-
sitting back.
You can't puss around. Yep.
So I reckon optimum 5.
And
5 players, yeah.
yeah. I'm still 4 to 5.
You can totally play it with less players.
Yep.
3 to 3, 4, no problems.
We
So,
played
okay.
3 down the night, and it was fine.
You just mentioned, so five players. So what sort of points? How many? Okay, maybe not many points for our listeners because they won't understand the Kings of War point system. So how many units roughly? What
Oh,
we're
look,
talking?
that's even more subjective. But at the end of the day,
roughly.
it's
Can't be that many.
I'll come up with the easiest way for people who play Kings, or even a very general way of doing it. Most standard games of Kings are around 2,000 points. You're playing with half that. So you're basically running with half what you normally would for a normal game.
For a 5-player game?
I've got no dramas with that. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
really good.
Yep.
And that's where the neatness of King's rules come in.
Yep.
That there's no extraneous stuff making it complicated.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it still flows with that very set turn structure where no one else is picking up dice, no one else is doing anything crazy apart from the craziness we added.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a
Yep.
second. So you can still run through your turns quite quickly. And look, if you wanted to, you could still put in your chess clocks and that sort of stuff, I think.
If you really wanted to. But the beauty of this is literally, I think the neatness of Kings of War lends itself to this better than its previous, essentially, owner.
Yeah.
Because it's not messy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
Which
I'd agree with that.
saves all the confusion. You can
Yeah.
just have fun, and you're not worrying about interactions and whatnot, because Mantic's Kings of War is very defined in its areas.
So, all right. So, if you play with 5 players, roughly about 1,000 points. So, tell me a bit more. How does it? I mean, I've obviously played one game, but tell listeners. So, how do we take it from there?
So the big thing with Kings of Treachery is that it's multiplayer, obviously, but it's not just the straight up fist fight. What we bring to it is a deck of cards that has a whole bunch of different game effects on it, and that you get a number of these cards each turn, and how that's all spelled out in the rules book. But basically, the worse you're doing, the more cards you end up with, and the more you can interact with the game. Now, these cards, the Treachery cards.
The Treachery cards.
Is where the fun really starts for me, because given that Kings is that so straight and narrow, turn balanced, these cards have the ability to just throw all that out the window. So it really is just, they're all just very simple cards, very simple effects on them that can be played at any time, or traded, or bartered, or anything you want to do with them. But basically, they are the wild cards.
Have you got some examples?
Yeah. Would you like me to read some out for you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just pull out one random one here. I've got Nope. What's this one? Play if an enemy player picks you as the enemy player. The player must pick a different enemy player. So, for example, you might be just about to charge some unit in the arse, triple attacks, and you're thinking, shit hot,
I've got this. Yep.
Old matey pulls out this card, and you're totally hosed.
So you can play it at any time during his turn?
Anytime. And
during your turn.
And it could be even that you were charging Muddy,
Yep.
and I've got the card in my hand and say, no, you're not.
Yep.
Because that's all.
Because I wanted that unit or something, you know.
And given the fact that you got 5 players, all of a sudden you're not going to smash that unit anymore, and now you're totally exposed. You could then be countercharged by somebody else.
Yep.
Okay, so give us
So
another card.
you kind of got to just let this go.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you
it.
can't play this like a
can't-
tournament.
You can't get hung up on it.
This is
You're gonna get
And throw
boned.
strategy out the door.
throw it out the
window.
This is like
Yeah.
rolling double ones in Blood Bowl consistently.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can't lay plans because someone's going to fuck you up.
Yeah,
with
someone's
these
going to stab you in the back.
cards.
Give us another
So
card.
let me just pull up another one. Okay, let me just look. Okay, so we've got another one. Here we go. Have another crack. Reroll misses in melee.
Cool.
So that could be really handy.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Yep. So
But again, you got to think about the immediate application where you go, right, I've got this card, I'm going to tail out that unit. You could have Greg's just charged Muddy again and completely fluffed all his dice. Now Muddy's unit's sitting in front of my unit that I want to charge past. And I go, no, I want that unit gone. So Greg, reroll all your misses.
Yep.
Like, you've...
I'll take it you can have, well, because it's my turn, I get to play the cards in my turn, or do you get to play the cards?
no.
Cards can be played
Cards can
anytime.
anyone can play
cool.
a card. You can swap cards. You can pay for cards.
How do you pay for cards?
basically each unit is worth a certain number of victory tokens. Okay, so if you, and I think we've worked them out, I think it's 50 points is worth 1 victory token.
Yep.
So 50 points are part thereof. So if you have a unit that's 200 points, that's 4 victory tokens. If I route that unit, if I take it off the board, I get those victory tokens.
Right.
And they go into my booty chest.
Okay.
And that booty chest is how I can do deals. I can I'll give you 5 bits of booty if you charge him, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Or I can say, I can go, hey, I'll sell you this really good card for 2 bits of booty. You know, we can do sorts of those deals like that. And it's also how the winners decide at the end of the game, the player with the most booty.
Right.
It's always about the booty, boys.
Cool. I like the way it's the person with the most booty wins. So it's to my advantage to give you turn around and say, I've got this really cool card. I could show you and go, yeah, how much? And you go, well, that's 4 booty points. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'm going to win with those 4 booty points. You can have this card. Off you go. Especially if you're going to screw Muddy.
Awesome. I took the guys at the Northern Knights through it the other night, and all of a sudden, and this was only with 3 players, you can get 6 cards thrown out because everyone just starts throwing in cards, like trying to impact the game in their own particular way for their own advantage.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're talking about the booty, the booty chest and whatnot. That is the point. So you were trying to kill stuff. You're not trying to sit back and play that tournament style of game. You've got to get in, but at the same time, you might lay the best plans, but someone could randomly just completely hose your plans, and you just got to take it on the chin. And that's why this is a beer and pretzels game. You're just there with your mates, like I said, beer and pretzels, and just letting it go. Yeah. And it's just a wall of fun. Like it's completely random.
I have to say, having a quick glance at cards at the start of the cast, my favourite is certainly the name is the Hulkamania.
Oh, Hulkamania unit!
You're certainly playing into my 90s. WWF.
And some of the cards aren't, some of the cards are quite, can be, re-rolling misses, but the Hulkamania, you give a unit brutal.
I think that's class.
Like
totally the Hulk.
Yeah. And there's some other, there's some really good ones. Like I like the Matrix moves. It minuses D3 off the movement speed rating off a charging unit.
Yep.
Now that could be huge.
Devastating.
Yeah.
I like Sneaky Git.
You like the sneaky git?
The
stealthy?
Yeah.
So the unit for that one just gains stealthy. So stealth. So there's some very easy mechanics that you can still do, and it's not going to muck up your game of Kings, where traditional Kings players might be very, stuck in their way, want to play that very, everything
linear,
very clean, and it's not going to dirty it up too much. But it just makes you got 3 friends. What, one person's just going to sit there and watch you 2 play?
The thing is with the cards, and I kind of do want to just reassure players that are kind of still a bit iffy on this stuff, is that I probably spent more time on the cards than anything else in the rules.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest challenge I think that we faced, was making sure that we could translate these cards into the game that still had an impact without throwing out the essence of Kings.
Yeah.
That's definitely where my time went in this, because for one, I had to learn Kings.
Yep.
Yeah. And 2, I had to. It was a real struggle to make sure, because you're talking about a finely oiled machine.
Yep.
And as much as you want to have some fun with it, you got to make sure you're not throwing spanners in.
You really want to keep the King's flavour still there.
Absolutely.
You're not trying to turn it into a completely different beast.
Yeah.
You're just trying to inject a little bit of extra
it's
fun
just a little
into
cheese on your taco.
Using stuff that's already essentially in Kings and just giving it a little bit extra. Like one of the other ones is like you can't use your artifacts for the turn.
Oh, that's
now
great.
You've only got one artifact on a unit. It might not be that big of a deal, but
it could be.
Might be.
The thing is, what you're saying is, it's all situational, but whenever you put it into the context of a 5 multiplayer game, all playing at the same time, that situational all of a sudden becomes completely relevant, and it will do you in. It'll do you go well for you, or it's going to go horribly wrong.
And aesthetically, the board looks cool because you've got like multiple armies just all over the place, all trying to essentially to get the booty. You got to kill shit, so they're all getting in amongst it.
Mm.
Still Kings of War armies. But...
No, they're not, mainly G-Dub models.
So the random turn activations. Do you just want to run us through that? Because that's...
Well, this is the golden bit. Once again, you're completely throwing out the certainty of Kings of War. The turns initiative is randomly generated, so you don't know who's gonna get the next turn. So you might be like itching to get that because you're stuck in a world of hurt.
So it's turn 2. I've set up for multiple charges.
Yep.
I'm ready to go.
Bring
it on, baby.
And you might be the last person to get to activate your units, and so
sucks.
everyone else gets to charge you or not get charged by you, whatever. So once again, it adds another element that you're just like, you know.
Can be. Or on the other hand, you can pull out and go last in turn 1 and first in turn 2.
Yeah, you get two.
You get the double
2 turns in a
whack.
go. Yeah.
And if you manage to jag that out, then you're in.
Go buy yourself a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
Until somebody plays a card that you can't hit their unit that turn, which you just charged.
Exactly.
Then you're just going to sit there and eat shit, basically.
Yep.
Because there's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
Yes, lots of forced smiles around the table. Ooh. That was clever.
Yeah, that was really
What
great.
a greatly timed card.
And another good thing that balances out the Kings, if someone else has brought we're talking about competitive games and the beer and pretzels type variant. If someone from Kings brings the ultimate flying beastly army and everyone's got the shits, you can kind of just gang up on them. I suppose.
Yeah, totally.
You can.
You can.
That'll teach you for bringing that fucking shit.
You are listening to Power Stance Gamers. And now, this.
I have to say, when I played it with you guys, it's more so than the previous incarnation. It totally works with this because, going back to what you said at the start, there's not 7,000 million special rules to remember.
Yeah.
Kings is very linear. It's a very simplistic but very well, like you said, well-oiled machine that works perfectly in that environment. And because of that, it actually works perfectly with this. Even though you've added chaos and randomness and all to it, it actually works.
Yeah, it still ends up kind of clean at the same time.
I think it's better. I think Kings is much better for it.
Yep. It's definitely better than any other multiplayer fantasy game I've played 100%. As far as rules interaction goes.
Yeah,
best ever.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yep.
And I'm not, listeners. I'm not just saying that because that is this is a PSG podcast. I have to put my hand up and say I have had one game of this, and I had no input into development. It was all these two brainiacs in front of me, and they've done a stellar job. They've done an absolutely stellar job.
So where to from here, Mr. Muddyman?
Well, it's getting close to basically being able to essentially put out onto the web, the Facebook as probably a download or something, and we'll probably put it on some of the forums, I suppose, and just see what people think. Like we've had other people within the Kings Queensland community play it, who had obviously nothing really to do with the designing of the game, and they've played it, and they've played multiple games now.
Wow,
they're sending
feedback's good.
Yeah, sent me photos of themselves actually playing it without me even there. So I think it took them 2 turns to kind of figure out what was going on, and after the second turn, it was just they were pretty much running it by themselves.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. So all the cards will be available via the download, the rules, everything, like it's a pack ready to go.
It'll be cards and the rules, and you'll
download it, print, and off you go.
And it'll pop out.
Get a nice pair of sharp scissors and.
Yep. Or if you need Greg to send it to you in the mail, he can. No,
no, I don't think so.
No, okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Yep. So I guess the big thing that we want you, our listeners that play Kings of War, even if you don't play Kings of War, you've got a fantasy army sitting there.
Yeah.
Get into it, crack it out, and give us some feedback. Tell us what you think. Let's get some photos up, see some games, and that's really what we want to do. This is not something we're putting out there to make any coin off.
We're not making any money out of this, guy. It's free. We just want to see people push fantasy armies around again, and actually with big smiles on their faces.
That's it. And if you can piss your mates off while you're doing it, like...
Oh, it is so... Yeah.
In the nicest possible way.
It is so much fun for that.
In a friendly manner.
Yep. And are we seeing this at any major events anytime soon? Like tomorrow?
Yeah. Ken, who pretty much was one of the main runners of the Queensland scene of Kings of War.
Shout out to Ken, long-time listener.
Yeah. Well, he's one of the guys I actually ran through at the Knights, and he's basically said he played it once and went, you know what? I actually want to run this at the Premier event as a bit of shenanigans with the guys.
Look, that is a huge wrap.
Yeah, I think so. They got it really quick. Like I said, it was probably turn 2. They just went, oh, this isn't tournament.
Yeah, and you know something. Ken's big into his kings and stuff. Like very much the competitive player, and that's obviously that's cool. But this adds it's a completely different element. Like it literally you can't take it serious. You can't because somewhat
the cards will fuck you.
Yeah, 100%. Or other players will gang up against you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can't.
Yeah, if you're that dude that's taking it seriously.
So you've taken a game, which I think is amazing. You've taken a game which is a tournament game, which is a perfectly balanced game, completely unbalanced it, but still retains its flavour. I think it's.
I think that's the thing I've found the most with this is that we've been able to basically keep that King's feel while injecting the chaos of the previous game we used to play into it.
Very cleverly done, gentlemen.
Totally agree. And honestly, I'm reluctant to touch Kings.
Yep.
But I will jump in and play this anytime.
So my plan worked.
Yeah. I'd definitely play this anytime.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't think you can get
Cha-ching!
much.
Especially now I know that we can gang up against certain players.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Hey, wait up! What?
Because
Are you looking at me?
we didn't do that lot. You did just kill me. Like you did, but you didn't. Nobody ganged up against me. I just got smashed.
I never ganged up on you.
No,
I did.
I
did.
Jono just smashed me, took me off the table. But
I'm
now
just trying to think. How many games have we actually played?
I
that
played
you
one.
Played? I thought you played 2.
no, because it was Jono and you two and me.
Yeah, we had the 4-player game that night.
Yeah,
That was the one in here.
but I play again.
What was the one? We had at least another one in the.
In the garage,
In the
me, you and
garage.
Jono.
Oh, was it?
That was the
Okay.
first one we play tested.
Because especially now with Messenger now, we can make a little group and
And yeah,
if we message.
we could do that during the game.
Are we gonna who got a smash?
What
I'll get
cards
smashed.
got? What
Yeah,
cards
okay.
got?
Yeah. I'll buy it off you for. That's interesting. I really like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Alrighty. Is there anything else we want to add, or?
No, look, guys. At the end of the day, if you've got fantasy armies, and let's just say you've got the Kings, you're obviously going to need the Kings of War rulebook,
Which you can download.
which you can download for free.
You can download for free, yada yada, from Mantic websites and whatnot, and get a feel for it. Look, you download this once we put it up.
For free as
It's
well.
free. Like, just push your stuff around, but all we ask is that you send us some photos and feedback of what you think of the game.
And money. Eventually.
in a brown paper bag.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like money too.
Or booze. Like that's not like just limited, Alcohol.
Yeah, vodka.
We won't send out alcohol.
If have we got Russian listeners?
Really, any stimulants or depressants. Let's not draw lines in the sand here.
Well,
Yeah,
if
or on the mirror.
If Putin's
Any
listening,
let's
I like
push it
vodka.
even further. Any unwanted plastic crack that you've got as well. Any unbuilt kits, whatever. Throw them our way as well.
Yeah.
We can give them out for listeners, for prizes.
Oh, merch.
yeah, merch.
Merch.
Yeah. Regifted. That's the big
that's
one.
it.
Regifting.
Yep.
Alright, then we might leave it there.
Yep.
I
Good
think
place
that's
to leave.
pretty good. What we'll do though is, again, we're going to put up some photos of our games. We've got some epic glamour shots of mighty heroes crashing on the battlefield that we'll definitely get up there.
Yep.
And even though I didn't win that game, it was still enjoyable.
With one of your cheesy lists.
Yeah.
You know why? Because JT didn't write your list.
didn't write you
my
a
list.
He didn't
Damn
write you a
it.
treachery list.
But yeah, so we'll chuck some photos up. Please try it. Please crack it out. Remember, the rules are free. You've got the model sitting there, and if you haven't got fantasy models, find a mate who does. You only need 1,000 points of it. And look, we guarantee it'll be a barrel of laughs.
Yeah, definitely. I would. Yeah, can't agree more. You gotta give this a go at some point in your life. It's as simple as that.
And if you are around Q&K Prem event tomorrow, check it out. It'll be on the tables. So
Nice.
make sure you get on Facebook, seeing all the photos, all the action there. You can subscribe to us on Podbean and on iTunes. Leave us some reviews. We've got our episodes uploaded on YouTube. You can download as well that way. If you want, please send Muddy a tweet. He's getting lonely.
Yeah, I'm getting lonely.
It's just the Russian porn bots that keep tweeting him. So, and that note, we'll catch you later, guys. Thanks heaps.
Good morning.
Thank you for listening to Power Stance Gamers, the #1 place for tabletop banter. You know you love us. See you soon.
It's Eternal and Mix well on the track once again, killing it. T-Dot to Munch, VR connection, funk resurrection. Ha. Yeah.